Hello and welcome back to the Early Bath Football Podcast. I hope everyone's okay. What day is it today, lads? Wednesday, the 13th of any day you want. Wednesday, 13th of October. We're back. We're here to discuss all things football. I'm joined by Ed. Hello, Ed. How's it going?
Good evening. Very well, thanks.
How's your day been?
Oh, delightful! Absolutely delightful.
Fun. How was your fish and chips the other night?
Good. Yeah. Would go back.
Would you recommend. Go back? That's huge. Barnes, hello. Barnes is here as well. Hello, Barnes.
Hello.
How was your birthday?
Oh man, it was huge. The big 2-6.
The big.
Yeah, I just feel old now, but with age becomes wisdom.
Oh wow. How very wise of you to say.
I'm setting myself up for a fall here when I say something ridiculous later on in the podcast. But
yeah, absolutely.
It's all good.
A very early Bath birthday to you anyway, Ash.
Early Bath day.
Early Bath day. And thank you. It was my birthday on Saturday as well. 26 as well. And with age comes wisdom and copying other people.
How much have you got in your pension?
Oh, let's not
talk about pensions. You need to start thinking about it.
When are you going to buy your own home? Is the thing, isn't it? Anyway, we'll talk about football instead of home ownership in the UK.
No, I think that's much better content.
Absolutely.
That's in part 2.
Anyway, we will touch on our first topic, which of course is going to be Newcastle United, and more specifically, their squad for next year. What we're going to do is a little segment here. It could be a big segment depending on how this goes. But lots of rumours about who Newcastle United might sign following their takeover, and they have billions and billions of pounds to spend. We're going to try and see what the early Bath boys can make for a squad, and we're going to put it together. We'll show it on screen and be like, this is our Newcastle squad for next year. You've probably seen so many people across social media and stuff. I know BBC Sport have done this is what we think Newcastle United could be next season, etc., etc. So we're just going to do the same. Barnes and Ed and I will probably argue and deliberate about who is playing for this prestigious squad, and then we'll get up on the screen. But the first thing to do, lads, is what formation should we choose? Is it just a classic 4-4-2, do you reckon, or do you want to go 4-3-3?
I was going to say Newcastle are very 4-4-2 oriented.
Is Bruce manager? If Bruce is manager, we're going 4-4-2.
At the time of recording, Steve Bruce is the manager, so let's say it's 4-4-2, baby.
4-4-2, baby.
Okay, so this is going to be our 4-4-2 Bruce Ball squad. So, first of all, lads, who do you reckon will be in goal for this Newcastle side next year? Do you think Martin Dubravka or Carl Darlow will play for Newcastle next year, or is it another goalkeeper in mind?
Go on, Ed. I'll put this on you.
It's a good question. I think there is an argument to say that they need a whole new back five if they really want to challenge. But I think goalkeeper is one where they possibly could be okay for a year. Dubravka has been okay. He's been pretty decent for the last couple of years. I know he's injured at the moment, and Carl Darlow's in goal. So unless they can get a decent signing for not a massive amount of money, it wouldn't be that high up my priority list. I think one of the lads this week said potentially Dean Henderson from United. Who was that? Who put them in their team?
I think it was Leif. I think Leif was trying to get rid of as many Manchester United players that he didn't want, and he's whacked them in his Newcastle team. I agree with Ed on the goalkeepers. I mean, Newcastle's a strange club with their goalkeepers, because if you look at their keepers, they're actually quite decent. They've got quite good depth in that. They got Freddie Woodman. I think he was on loan at Swansea last season. He was very decent. I know he started a bit shaky. He's had a shaky start to the season. And then they got Darlow, who's been, when Dubravka's been injured, he's been good. Okay. He played well for Forest back in the day as well. So, but Dubravka as well is, he made that horrendous error in the Euros. Do you remember it? I think it was Spain versus Slovakia. Yeah. But I think he's a decent keeper as well. So I agree with Ed. I suppose Dubravka is probably the number one. I think that's fair to say. So I reckon they could probably keep him. That wouldn't be my priority if I was a Saudi billionaire.
Yeah, I think for me as well, if you put a decent back four in front of them, any of those keepers could do a job. Dubravka's a pretty decent shot stopper.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about how many saves they have to make at the moment, and they do okay.
Yeah. That's fine. We'll put Dubravka in. He deserves his spot.
What about Carl Darlow?
Well, we're going to get some very questionable Geordie accents throughout the whole of this pod, I reckon.
Theme,
All right, okay, lads. Let's move to right back then. We've a lot of thoughts here on will Aaron stay there, or will Manquillo be in there, or who else could be in there right back for Newcastle United?
What about Matt Ritchie? Does he play left back or right back?
He plays left back.
He can play right back. He's good enough to play with both.
Total football. This
is
Steve
former
Bruce
Swindon.
Oh no, get him out.
Don't want him anywhere near any squad. Wouldn't even put him in the current squad. Get him in the reserves.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you reckon then, Ed, for right back? I'll tell you what, people have been following. I think I put mine in the chat first, and I put Max Aarons there, and subsequently 3 other early Barfers have put him in their squad. So I have a feeling that was based on no knowledge whatsoever. I just know Norwich are probably going to get relegated, and Max Aarons has been decent for the last few years and been touted to go to, I think, Arsenal for a while, actually. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't surprise me if Newcastle came in with sort of a 40-45 million, just like, here you go, young English player. Why not? So that's why I went with Aarons.
They bought Jamal Lewis last summer, didn't they? I think they got him for a fairly decent price. Whether Norwich would hold out for silly money for Max Aarons or not, I don't know. But yeah, could be a good shout. Although I think they've got a fairly decent right back in Manquillo. But yeah, it's always good to have competition. So I think we can stick Aarons in there. Let's go for it.
Is he good, or did he just score a goal against? Was it Liverpool?
Did he just do one thing?
One good thing ever?
Yeah, I think he's one of those that's worth taking a punt on as well, because you've got a young English player. You're always, even if he flops, you're always going to get money for him if you want to sell him later on. So
you've got to get that homegrown quota.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point.
No worries. That's why I'm here to officiate. So we're going to say Aarons then, right back.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, of course. So we move to centre back, right centre back specifically. Does Lascelles play left centre back or right centre back?
No idea. Does it matter?
Either way, Jamal Lascelles, who all the Newcastle fans think should be in the England squad, but never gets picked, probably because he isn't good enough. But does Jamal Lascelles continue to be at the back here for Newcastle? Is he their captain?
Yeah.
I feel yeah. So is the Newcastle current captain sticking in this squad?
I think you've got... I think let's try and be somewhat realistic in that it's not going to be a completely different 11. So let's try and keep some of the current Newcastle players in there.
Get rid of him. Get him out.
If you were to keep like 3 or 4 in there, he'd be one of them, I think. Over the last few seasons, he's been a very consistent player for them. Pops up with the odd goal from a set piece every now and again. I say keep him in.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, but Newcastle do have about 6 or 7 like centre backs who are all distinctly quite average. And they got. I'll probably come on to who's the other centre back. We've got like Fernandez. I think Dummett sometimes plays centre back. You got Fabian Schär, who I quite like, but is he's a bit what's the word? Random, we'll call it, or inconsistent. But I think Lascelles is a very big man. I personally have never seen this thing that the Newcastle fans think that he's, this really great player. He might be a good leader. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I'm not. I'm not his biggest fan. But yeah, let's keep him. Why not? He's the captain. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if they got rid of him.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. Sorry.
Justice for Kieran Clark. Let's get him in there. Premier League.
Oh yeah, of course. Ireland's
journeyman.
Clark. Fab. Okay, so we're sticking with Lascelles. Okay, who's partnering Jamal Lascelles?
Paul Dummett.
Paul Dummett. Steven Taylor. Ryan Taylor.
Steven Taylor. Get him in.
Colaccini, get him in.
Colaccini. I say Colaccini, but I don't
Best
know if that
hair.
happens, sadly.
The Newcastle Puyol.
The Geordie Puyol. Who do you reckon? I'm assuming you're thinking they get a centre back in.
Yeah, 100%.
Who do you reckon that is, lads?
Well, there were a couple of names touted about in the chat this week. When I saw who Josh Lathy had partnered Lascelles with, I laughed. But the more I think about it, why not? He partnered him with Koulibaly, and he would cost you a fortune. He'd be really expensive in wages, but why not? Why the hell not?
Money
He's
is
a
no
very
object.
good player. Very good player. I'm sure a number of the top 6 would take him. Liverpool were linked with him not that long ago. Yeah, from his point of view, he could see this as one last payday, chance to play in the Premier League. Happy days. So yeah, I think that's a good shout. The other one's Tarkowski. I think that's could be a shrewd bit of business. Again, another English player. Tick that quota.
Out of contract.
And I believe, I was going to say, I think he's out of contract this summer, or soon anyway. So yeah, could get him for relatively decent money. And he's a pretty good player. He's a bit of a house at times, but yeah, he's decent. I'm sure the Geordies will love that. He could become the new Steven Taylor.
And that's all we want. That's all we want, right?
That's going to get Newcastle back up to the top.
Absolutely.
Give me a team of Steven Taylors. That's what we need.
You're just a team full of Taylors.
Team full of Taylors.
One of the names that Chris put out there was Rob Dickey. I think Rob Dickey or Dom Hyam from Coventry City could be a good shout.
Shout out the OX28 boys.
Rob Dickey is actually a reasonably
not a bad
good shout. It's not the worst shout. He's been incredible for QPR so far this season, banging in goals left, right, and centre. I can see him making a move to the Premier League. I'd be extremely surprised if it was Newcastle because he is, let's face it, not a big name at all. But yeah, the Koulibaly one, I was exactly the same as you had. Like, Lathy put him in, I was like, nah, that's a joke. Like, he's not going to go there. But then when you think about it, he's been at Napoli for a while. It wouldn't actually surprise me. Maybe not this year, but it could happen. Like, it's not as mad as it seems at first.
Yeah.
And also, if Rob Dickey does go to Newcastle United, Oxford United should get a nice sell-on fee. You'd hope.
Exactly.
You'd hope.
That's the main thing.
And what about here, lads? What about Eric Bailly? Well, I've seen a couple of rumours about Eric Bailly this week. Do you think that he would be a signing that Newcastle might want to look at? It's a big name signing in the grand scheme of things. I think on the face of it anyway.
It is, but I think there's better options out there, more consistent and reliable options out there. I think on his day, Eric Bailly can be a very, very good centre half, but he's shown through his time at United it's once in a blue moon with him.
Exactly.
And his injury record is appalling. So yeah, I don't think I'd go there.
Yeah, injured day one vibes.
Injured day. Eric Bailly injured day one for Newcastle. If anyone is watching, then put in the chat who you think Newcastle's centre back could be next season. But who we decided, lads? Who are we thinking is going to be partnering Jamal Lascelles at centre back next season for Newcastle? You need to come to a consensus.
Their centre backs are actually all right. Like I've said, they're not that bad. So it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't sign anyone. Personally, I'd go Tarkowski just because he's out of contract. And I feel like I'm pretty sure he's from the north as well, so it wouldn't surprise me, that transfer. But I don't know what Ed thinks.
What I would say is they are in the relegation zone. So they must be leaking in goals somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think
that's a fair point.
Yeah, I think they probably do. I think they do need a centre-half. I said earlier there's a potential case to be made that they need a new goalkeeper and back four, but yeah. I think let's go with Koulibaly or Tarkowski. What do you think, Ash? I'm going to go Tarkowski because I think it makes more business sense.
Okay, cool.
Okay, we'll go James Tarkowski.
We'll save some money for further up the field.
Oh, so for a marquee signing, is that what we're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
If anyone in the chat disagrees with James Tarkowski, then please shout and comment. Okay, so we're looking at left back now. To complete the back five, we've currently got Martin Dubravka staying in goal for Newcastle. We've got Max Aarons at right back. We've got Jamal Lascelles. He's partnered by new boy James Tarkowski. So who is left back for Newcastle United next year, lads? Who do you think?
Definitely not Matt Ritchie.
Not Matt
No.
Ritchie. Was it? It's a no Matt Ritchie zone here.
He's out. Released from contract.
For free. Tore it up.
I quite fancied Kieran Trippier. I know he's not actually a left back. He's a right back. But as Gareth Southgate has shown, he can play left back. And I think it's been rumoured for a while that he quite fancies a return to England. And with all these things, I know he hasn't actually gone, but there's no smoke without fire. I think that tends to come true. So I have a feeling that clubs will be looking at Trippier again in January and in the summer. And I think he'd be a good experienced acquisition for Newcastle, and they can probably afford his wage demands, and they wouldn't mind paying a large transfer fee on a slightly older player. So I think that's a good shout.
Would you want to commit to playing left back every week, though? Do you think he plays left back for England just because he only has to do it twice?
For $200,000 a weekend, I think I would.
Yeah.
You think Trippier could get $200,000 a week?
I think Newcastle are going to pay silly money for silly players.
I don't think they will. I think they'll be more shrewd than that. Anyway,
I do. Yeah.
I think for all the reasons Ash just said, I think Trippier is a good shout. I think Lewis is a decent player. I think he just needs a run of games. So I'd be inclined to leave him there. Another young English fullback. I know there's a lot of them floating about.
Again.
Yeah, Northern Irish, isn't he?
Is he? Oh, okay.
Is he?
Yeah.
I
think so.
Jamal Lewis.
Still in the quota.
Who's your left back, by the way, Tang? I was very interested in your left back pick for the side.
I put Asier Del Horno because I couldn't think of a decent left back.
Get him in.
I don't think he'd come out of retirement to play for Newcastle. Young Asier Del Horno. Let me just check who Chris and Leif said. They both said Lewis. Yeah, okay.
I think we should probably go with Lewis. I think that's fair. Okay.
Lewis. Jamal Lewis will stay at left back. He's Northern Irish, of course. So Jamal Lewis is Jamal Lewis. So here's our back five, lads. We've got Dubravka in goal, Max Aarons, great signing. Jamal Lascelles, keeping his captaincy for Newcastle United. He's partnered by James Tarkowski and Jamal Lewis at left back. That's a very British back line.
Yeah, Steve Bruce would love that. It's Brexit, but with a little bit more flair.
a little bit of spice.
Yeah, because I think their back four at the minute is pretty Brexit, but well, it's just got a little bit of spice.
Very Chris Eubanky. Okay, so we're gonna move it to the midfield. Everyone, we stuck for a 4-4-2 because that's
how we're.
But I am willing to have a sort of a central defensive midfield and an attacking midfielder.
The old diamond, baby.
The old diamond, Diamonde. Okay, so put in the chat if you guys think who should be in Newcastle's midfield. But Ed, would you like to start us off with one of your midfielders in the centre mids?
I'm going to go with one of the Longstaffs.
One of the Longstaffs. So okay.
It depends what you want, because Sean is the bigger one and he's the more defensive-minded one, I think, and then Matty is the one that kind of burst on the scene, scored against United.
Is he the ginger one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, ginger Longstaff.
I mean, I was kind of joking, but I think they will stick around. I think potentially a good side. Joe Willock, actually, I'm going to put him in there. He's decent. We'll get him in.
You're going to go Joe Willock. That's you. Barnes, do you agree?
I've just realised that although I pushed you into doing a 4-4-2, but I've put my team in a much more continental of the day 4-3-3. So none of the midfielders really work in the 4-4-2.
Do you, Ed? If you want to move it to a 4-3-3, Ed, I'm more than happy.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Let's move it to a 4-3-3 then. Here we go.
Progression.
Progressive football. So we are going to play. Now, what is our midfield three going to be? Is it going to be a defensive one with two attacking ones, or two defensive, one attacking?
A DM, two centre mids.
Okay.
And then
I'd rather have a 2 and an attacking mid.
Okay.
Could you argue that if you do a 2 and an attacking mid, one of your two that could be a more sitting one? You could put. Yeah. Are you trying to put Brozovic in? Is that what
I am trying to put Brozovic in. I'm trying to shoehorn him in the team.
Why is that, Ash?
Don't know. Someone really smart suggested him. as the deal.
Right. Okay. What I've done is I've changed it to 2 sitting midfielders here, and an attacking midfielder. So Barnes, who is one of your 2 sitting / just further back midfielders?
So Ed's already out of me. So I'm going to go Brozovic, who is currently playing for Inter Milan. I looked up the players that were out of contract, so the players that would be relatively easy to sign. I know Newcastle have an absolute ton of money, so contracts don't matter too much because they can pay ridiculous transfer fees. But from a sensible signing point of view, I think he's a good player, good pedigree. Looks like he's not going to sign with Inter Milan again, and I think he'd be a good player to come in at defensive midfielder. So I've gotten him. I think you can't have 2 long staffs. I'm with Ed as well. You can't have 2 of them. Maybe one can get in there, but you can't have 2.
We'll keep it really vague and keep a long staff. So are you happy with a Brozovic long staff midfield duo here?
Oh, I said Willock though.
Oh no, you said Willock, didn't you?
Yeah.
We got 3 now though.
True.
They changed formation.
Yeah. I want to save the attacking mid for a bit of flair.
Okay, so who is partnering Brozovic?
Let's go Brozovic and Willock.
Willock, interesting. Okay, let me change that. Okay, then we'll move to this central attacking midfielder. This is where we're getting a bit more marquee now. Some big name signings. So who is going to finish the midfield trio of Brozovic, Willock, and who? Ed.
Coutinho.
This is the first big name signing, I feel.
Yeah.
Barnes,
so.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I put him in. He's been heavily linked. He has been. Let's say he's having an absolutely crap time at Barcelona, and I think they will be with open eye. I think Chris said in the group chat, think of this team like anyone from Barcelona could play for Newcastle in the foreseeable future. I think that's a great shout. I think Coutinho is probably right up with the players that Barcelona want to get rid of, and he's marquee enough that it'll be good for the shirt sales or all that crap. So I think Coutinho is a great shout.
Yeah, I can see him in the black and white stripes. I think he'd go down a treat on Tyneside.
I think he would. Him and I think Coutinho is a superb shout to be just behind our striker here. So that midfield 3, and there's the big marquee signing. So Brozovic, Willock, and Philippe Coutinho returning to English shores, and probably will score a hat-trick on the opening day against Liverpool. Put a 10 on.
I mean, there's so many players that we could have put in there. We could have put Maximin in centrally. Could have put
Aaron Ramsey.
Ramsey was a good shout.
Yeah, he'd probably be more. I don't know. Would you want him as an attacking midfield player? Would you?
Or just in midfield? Just in midfield in general.
Midfield, yeah.
Is my point.
Yeah.
Too injury prone, I think.
Yeah,
he is used to playing in black and white though, so that's a help.
Very good. That makes all the difference. Chris has also put Sergi Roberto. Again, he's gone for that Barcelona
style of play.
Barca style of play.
Jesse Lingard, we could have had in there.
Jay Lings could have been in there.
Yeah.
That's very fair. But are you happy with a midfield 3 of Willock, Brozovic, and Coutinho?
Yep.
I think it's pretty solid. Now we're moving to the front side of this starting 11.
Making moves.
Let's make moves. Okay, let's just hit the whoa. Let's start with right wing. Who's on the right wing for Newcastle United? I'll put some names out there for you. Some Maximin could be in there. Dembele.
Some Maximin play on the left or the right?
Well, I've put him on the right because I put Coutinho on the left, but that was in a 4-4-2, and I think whatever. But just some wingers there for you, Martial and Sterling. I think Leify said, didn't he? Which was pretty huge. But who's on right wing then for you lads?
Who knows? It's difficult. I don't know if I was feeling. I've had a few drinks or something, but I put Paulo Dybala. I know he's not a right winger, but he went in my sort of potential Newcastle lineup. Now I look at it, I think that is completely ridiculous. I can't see him playing.
So I'm not writing down really. Paulo Dybala.
So don't write down that one. Martial again, it's another one of Leify's. Please get rid of this player at my club. That's why I didn't put Fred in the lineup, to be honest.
Well,
got to keep Fred. He keeps him ticking.
Oh no!
Yeah. St. Maximum. We're going to put him in left wing or right wing, so we might as well whack him in one of them. Or are we, Ed? Or are we?
Ed, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's a couple of people I'm thinking. Could put St. Maximan in there. What about somebody like Gareth Bale? Very injury prone, I know, but would he give up the golf courses in Spain for the golf courses on Tyneside? Probably not. There's some pretty good ones in Scotland, I think, but that's maybe a little bit far.
Yeah.
And he's very injury prone, so
yeah. But he is a big name. That's the thing, and I think that's what Newcastle want.
Yeah.
At this stage,
him putting in some decent deliveries into Joe Linton up front, I think could be a.
So yeah, we're putting Joe Linton up front. It seems. No, okay. So are we going to say no? Go on, Ed. Go on.
Oh, I don't know. I was trying to think of some Brighton players that I could use to upset you. Who plays right wing for Brighton? Trossard.
Trossard. Pascal Gross plays at right wing back sometimes. Cucurella, the palm tree himself.
I reckon we should give Joel Linton a chance. Come on, give him a chance. He's only had like 3 seasons. Give him a go.
On right wing.
Yeah, he plays right wing now. I'm pretty sure. He can't play up front anymore. Yeah, as soon as he switched from number 9 to I think he's number 7 now, that was that transition from striker to right wing. So yeah, why not? Bit of fun. All the Newcastle fans love him. Get him in.
Why not? Bit of fun. That's what she said. What about Jacob Murphy?
No.
He missed an absolute sitter against Watford, didn't he? Could have won the game 1-on-1. Yeah. And he tried to dink it over Ben Foster.
He did.
There's that commentator getting really mad about, isn't there? That clip. He goes absolutely mental.
Yeah.
I have seen that.
Almiron, the forgotten man.
I think he's going to go, actually.
Yeah, true.
So I think he'd be the big name signing to leave Newcastle.
What around Jeff Hendrick?
Oh, God. Where's John Joe Shelby?
John Joe. We've missed out John Joe.
Where's John Joe?
Isaac Hayden, we missed him out as well.
Tam Ben Arthur.
Oh, get him back. Get him in.
Get him back.
What about somebody like Dimitri Payet?
Sylvain Marveau.
You could see him at Newcastle.
Yeah,
we're not making any progress here.
No,
do we go with some
I think we're going with St. Maximan.
So then who do we put left wing?
Well, this is my next question to you, lads. Who do you put left wing?
Martial.
Joel Linton's been robbed here.
Joel Linton's awful.
Joel Linton's robbing a living.
Give him a chance, Ed.
I'd rather have True Geordie playing left midfield than Joel Linton.
Let's put True Geordie in then. Put him in there.
That's fair.
Number 9.
I saw a clip of him heading it the other day. They improved each one, so I think it could be a presence in the box.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, you fat slag.
You'll have to beep that out.
No.
Oh, gosh. Who do you want on left wing is my question to you.
You can choose, Ed. My suggestions are stupid.
Let's go Martial.
Anthony Martial?
Yeah.
Wowee.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure he would move to another Premier League club. I think he'd go abroad. I don't think he'd stay.
I think he'd go for the money. That's just my answer to everything.
It's all about the money with you, isn't it?
All about the money.
Yeah, go on then. Let's go Martial.
Okay. And now to complete this squad, who is your striker? Who is your 20 to 30 to 40 year goal a season striker for Newcastle United? Who's going to fire them to Premier League glory, and why is it Joe Linton?
Because he's got to justify his price tag.
Get him in there.
Yeah.
Get him in there.
We
are a Joe Linton stan podcast.
What I did find interesting was that out of the teams that we put together, none of you put Callum Wilson.
Because he scores like 6 goals a year.
Nah, he gets goals. He's bagsman.
But he's injured for 30 games a year.
True. 30 games a year, that's a bit much. I think as much as I love Callum Wilson, he's a great player, especially in his Bournemouth days. I think let's say they keep him, but he's not maybe starting 11 every week.
I don't think he's a starting 11 player every week. I'll throw some some thoughts out here for you. People have said Anthony Lacazette, Mauro Icardi. I think Chris has said Alfredo Morelos for Rangers. I've also said Edison Cavani. Kylian Mbappe, maybe. What do you lads?
Haaland.
Oh, how comical would that be if Haaland went to Newcastle instead of United? All of our United fans in the group chat have been saying, "Oh, we're going to get Haaland next year. We've got to do this so we can get Haaland next year." It would be so funny if he went to Newcastle or just anywhere but United.
It would be a shame, wouldn't it? It would be.
It would be such a shame. I think they're all. Oh, so funny. I think they're all pretty decent shouts. You could see a lot of them happening. I think we've all gone for strikers that are potentially a little bit unhappy where they are at the minute. Lacazette obviously not getting anywhere near enough game time at Arsenal. Same with Icardi. Morelos, I think maybe Chris was hinting that Steven Gerrard might take over and take Morelos with him. Can you imagine Morelos in the Premier League? That would be unreal. The amount of carnage he causes in the Scottish Premiership, let alone the Premier League. Be red cards for days. Cavani, I'm not so sure. I think it would be a good signing, but I don't think he'll go. I think he's been hinting that he wants to go back to South America, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think that might be the case. Who else was there? Divock Origi. Can we put him in there?
Divock Origi.
Just to get him off Liverpool's books, for crying out loud.
I think an interesting one. I was going to say Lacazette, but just because he's out of contract and will be probably leaving Arsenal, it looks like. What about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, England player at Everton? Could be. I have a feeling that they're going to want to not only get a big name, but they're going to want to spend big. They're going to want a 50 million plus signing. So I thought, and Newcastle love a big man, an Andy Carroll-esque player. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
They love a big English number 9, don't they? Newcastle.
Yeah, the Shearer ilk. So I reckon that might be a good shout. I know we've done the wingers, but I just thought of someone else. Dwight McNeil, if Burnley potentially get
You
relegated.
just love Burnley.
I know.
Burnley. We do. I think not Burnley.
Well,
I think Dwight McNeil's a good player, and he's young, and it could be another one where they want to spend big money on a player.
Should we go back? Should we bin off Martial, put St. Maximan left, and Dwight McNeil right wing?
Oh,
he's right midfield.
Let's do it.
I'm doing it right now.
Yes.
Say no more. Dwight McNeil
what
is
other
in.
strikers could they get? Is Higuain still kicking balls?
I hope not. I think he's at Inter Miami. Phil Neville's Inter Miami.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool.
No, I'm pretty sure we're bottom of the league, but
Gonzalo Higuain, captain.
I think Calvert-Lewin's a shout, but I don't know whether he would actually go. I think they've got a pretty decent setup at Everton, and Benitez seems to be setting up the team around him to get the best out of him. So
it's all about the Moolah, Ed. It's all about the Wonga.
It'd be a brave move. It'd be a brave move for him to go to Newcastle, especially if they don't get in a bigger name than Benitez, which they probably wouldn't. Can't have Fat Frank coaching Calvert-Lewin.
You'll ruin him.
Timo Werner. What about him?
I
think he's good, but I can't see it. But
just seems to have no confidence, doesn't he?
No, does he?
What about Mitrovic? Get him back, or Rondon?
Oh, please put Mitro in.
Mitro's on fire.
Come on, let's decide who we put in.
Nikola Zigic.
Nicholas Zigic.
We're getting further and further away again.
Yeah, let's go.
This is what all our chats always end up being. It just ends. It's realistic players, and then we just waffle. Amir Zaki. Okay, yeah.
Let's get El Habsi in goal.
Let's bring Mark Viduka out of retirement.
Good player.
Obafemi Martins.
Harry Kewell at the Australians.
Let's get
Tim
Anne
Cahill,
Amiobi
Stephen
back.
Pienaar. Yeah, let's go Lacazette.
Okay, we'll go Lacazette. Let me type that in. Anthony Lacazette.
I love when we put together this team that turned out to be absolutely terrible.
Absolutely awful. Right, I'm going to try and put this. Speak amongst yourselves for a bit.
Who's the manager then? We haven't discussed that.
Oh,
That is true. Yeah, talk about your manager whilst I get this ready.
Of course, because I'm always worried about him, and I just want him to succeed and get his 1000th game. Give Brucey a chance.
We must caveat, we are always worried about Steve Bruce on this
always
podcast.
worried about him.
Always worried about me, Steve.
Got to make sure he's got a kebab. He won't be happy otherwise.
Got to see.
I think he's got to go. I think he should have gone before. He should have gone last season. His record is absolutely horrific. I mean, I went on
You say that though. He's had absolutely no money to spend. I know he's not.
Joel Linton, Willock.
Yeah, but that was quite a while ago, though, wasn't it? That wasn't this summer.
It might not even be.
I feel like Joe Linton was a player where everyone says he wasn't spending money, so we had to go out and spend money.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, okay, guys, I'm spending money. Like, it wasn't a signing that he would have made if he hadn't had the pressure of having to sign someone.
To be fair to Bruce, I do agree with Ed in that he's one of those managers that when Newcastle lose, it's all Steve Bruce's fault. But when Newcastle win, it's all, some maximum moment of brilliance. Well done, Callum Wilson scored a brace or something. It's never like Bruce is in a situation in Newcastle with the fans that whether he wins, loses, draws, he's going to attract criticism. And so I think he should have just walked away, personally. Yeah. He's taken so much abuse from the fans. You kind of just feel sorry for him. It's like it's not working out for any parties. And I think his stubbornness and his inner, I want to do this, I want to do well, I can make this work. It's sort of, I respect it, but I don't think it's best for any party, really.
I've just been having a look through their transfer history because I was like, I'm sure they sold somebody in order to pay for Joe Linton. Sold Perez, didn't they, to Leicester, and then bought Joe Linton.
Yeah.
So
okay,
but then they also bought Sam Maximan for 16 million, which is pretty mental.
That's not bad. Let's think, take that in isolation. That's a decent deal.
And actually, I take back what I said that he doesn't get any money because actually, the transfer window 2021 season, they bought in Callum Wilson, Jamal Lewis for 35 million and didn't sell anybody that year. And then the transfer window just gone, they bought Joe Willock for 26 million. So it does give them a bit, but it's not game changing, is it? Like that's just investment to keep the team ticking over so they stay in the league. It's not actually investment that's going to revolutionise the team, which is probably what they need. They're a pretty aging squad, as Tang and I were talking about before we came on air.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of them are 30 plus. So it needs an overhaul, which is probably really, really why they needed this investment.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, just going back to Steve Bruce, I feel for him as well. I think he's done a pretty good job considering the resources he's got in that squad. I know he doesn't play the most attractive football, and he sometimes doesn't seem like he has a particular brand and style of football, but there's only so much that you can polish the Newcastle turd that is at the moment. I don't think a Steven Gerrard or a Frank Lampard is going to have some special glitter to make it any more fancy than it is at the minute. It needs complete overhaul. It needs to be flushed. To continue this analogy.
Oh gosh.
So I think give it Steve Bruce until January. Let him spend a bit of money, see what he can do.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is heavily result dependent because I'm well aware that they're in the relegation zone at the minute.
Yeah.
Can he turn it around? Bit of pressure on him. I think if What's Her Face can say, right, Steve, pressure's on. You've got to get us out. You've got to get us to 15th by January. If we're 15th by January, I'll give you 50 million to spend and you keep your job for a bit longer. And he'll probably then regurgitate that to the players and say, right, lads, go on until January. If we're not 15th, half of you are probably out the door. So, yeah, let's keep it Steve Bruce.
Let's keep it Steve Bruce. And here is your Newcastle United 2022-2023 side.
Lord.
Here you go. What do you guys think here? What do you guys think of that? Are you happy?
My thought is I was happy, and then we ended the discussion on us agreeing that Steve Bruce should be the manager. And all optimism I had for this team has been like flushed
Diminished.
away.
Flushed.
Diminished.
Flushed away keeps the analogy going.
Yeah,
and I just think it's a new era.
Just keeps them floating.
Yeah, just Bruce. I think it'd be good to get. It's a perfect time to get a new manager and a new start. Not sure who that should be necessarily, but I just think when you look at this new squad and you see some exciting young names, I don't associate that with Steve Bruce and that he's going to take this team to the next level.
Yeah.
So I'd say, although I worry about him a lot, bye, Bruce.
We do worry.
Thanks for the memories.
Thanks for the memories.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably Steve Bruce could begin to compile this squad in January, but it needs somebody with a bit more attacking, tactical nous going forward to take them to the places that they need to be.
Fantastic.
Graham Potter would be my ideal.
Yeah,
I don't think it will happen, but he'd be my Potter
and John Joe Shelby.
Oh my God!
The boy who lived. Anyway, how dare you stand where you stood?
Oh God!
Oh God, Jesus. Okay, well,
leave Bruce. Move on.
No, we're not going to move on because you brought this up, Barnes. Newcastle's finest day, one of Newcastle's finest days, and how this Newcastle prospective squad could get on against one of Newcastle's greatest ever squads. And I'm going to put it on screen now. This is the Newcastle starting 11 that played against Benfica in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. 2013 this was, so 10 years, well, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, whenever that was.
Quick maths.
Thank you. It was Jorge Jesus against Alan Pardew. How many years was he into his 8-year contract at this point? Like 2, maybe?
2 months.
2 months. But this is the side that Newcastle put out that year. Tim Krul, future Premier League winner Danny Simpson.
James Perch, absolutely steaming and living in that season.
Yanga and Biwa, David Santon, Sylvan Marvo.
That is a big
Musa
James Perch performance, that is. James Perch starts the game, picks up a yellow, substituted.
So Johan Cabaye, Papi Cisse, Jones Gutierrez. On the bench for Newcastle was Rob Elliott, of course.
Oh, weird.
Former Oxford United centre-back Mike Williamson was also on the bench.
Christ.
Who came, and then also Gabriel Obertan and Adam Campbell, don't know who that is. And then the 3 that came on were Shola Amiobi, Dan Gosling, and Vernon Anita. So this is a great squad.
I think Demba Ba was this year as well.
Sorry, Barnes?
I think Demba Ba was this year as well. And Johan Gouffran, unlucky, and Ben Arthur.
What a year.
It sounds like they were a little bit injury hit if that was their bench, and those were some of the players they also had.
Would our squad beat this squad, and by how much?
No, because Ballon d'Or winner Stephen Taylor is at centre half,
and Premier League winner Danny Simpson is there. Yeah. And
what I can say is, if it was a cup game and it went to penalties, our team would lose. They got Tim Krul in goal. Excellent penalty saver. But I actually think our team is better than I reckon our team's better. I'm putting out there.
Where would our team finish? Where would you think our team finish in the Premier League?
Seventh.
Ooh.
7th.
I went 8th. I think.
Straight to the Europa Conference League.
Yeah, realistically, the top 6, the big 6 should finish above them, and then
Brighton,
West Ham, Leicester, Everton. Is this team better than Everton?
Brighton.
Similar to it. If Everton lined up with this team, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, this is a very Everton squad, to be fair.
It is It's quite Europa Conference League, but I think it is. There's building blocks like Manchester City didn't. I know they signed Robinho and things like that, but they didn't go from sort of wherever they were towards the bottom of the Premier League straight into the Champions League, did they? So there's going to be some steps along the way.
Yeah, this team reminds me a little bit of West Ham as well. You've got Joe Willock, i.e. Declan Rice. You've got Brozovic, Souček. You've got Coutinho, which is Ben Rama. Dwight McNeil, which is Bowen. You got
Lacazette is
Antonio. Yeah.
I just had a light bulb has gone off in my head for striker. We were struggling a bit. Ivan Toney, former Newcastle player,
the return
going back to his
son, baby.
Exactly. It happens a lot in football where a team gets rid of a youth player and they come back and sign him for like 50 million. I can see it happening. He's a great player. He's on absolute fire. I think he'd fit with their team and he'd be a bit of a younger option compared to we've gone with Lacazette. But I think Toney would be perfect for that team.
What a side. Right. I'll unshare that. I'll come back to the middle. We'll do just the one topic on the international break and then we'll finish up because we spent 45 minutes talking about that. Yes. International break. There was a couple of England games, which I watched neither of. And there was a UEFA Nations League final, which I watched nothing of. So, Ed...
So I think, Kieran, over to you for the update.
The update is England won a game. I think Jack Grealish scored, and England also drew a game against Hungary, and there were some fights, and it wasn't a very good English performance, apparently. So, yeah, Barnes, you said you had some thoughts on England and about our route to Qatar.
I do have some thoughts.
Go on.
So... a lot of people on Twitter and in the media have been getting on Gareth Southgate, sort of complaining, terrible against Hungary, what a rubbish result. What I would say is England are pretty much still guaranteed to qualify. Even if we lost to Albania, I think Poland would have to overturn like a 5 or 6 goal difference. And bearing in mind, we've got San Marino to play. In the grand scheme of things, it's not going to make any difference, and we're still going to qualify. And all these England sort of fans who are moaning at Southgate saying, why are you playing 2 DMs? Rice and Phillips. I don't want to see Rice and Phillips. So he picks a team without it just Rice, and he plays, I think it was Mount, Grealish and Foden all in front, which, all these fans have been asking for. And then he plays that formation and it doesn't work at all. Because there's no space. All these players are trying to play in a similar area. They're struggling to get the ball. We're struggling to sort of move forward. And there's this kind of thing in football where it's not just for this England team where people are like, oh, you're playing 2 DMs. That must be so defensive. But football doesn't work like that. Like football's a dynamic game. It's such a basic view of like, we need to put more attacking mids in, get rid of the defensive mids. Like, I don't know if that's an onset of the 4-2-3-1 formation that people are just obsessed with, sort of playing defensive midfielders and attacking midfielders.
Also,
like we were talking sorry, go on, Ed.
I was going to say also, if you have 2 defensive mids, it allows the fullbacks to bomb on, which is what we like to do quite a lot as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. But I mentioned the other day on the podcast, we were talking about Brighton. I was talking about Brighton's midfield. You don't. They're just an example. There's other teams that do this as well. You don't need like a number of DMs or attacking midfielders. You just need a system and patterns of play that work. And I think that's more England's problem, that they struggle to break down teams because they don't necessarily have a real like strong pattern of play. Is more the issue than
similar
we're playing
to United,
2 DMs.
isn't it? As well, similar to
it
Man United.
A bit,
They don't really have a system of playing, and I think the whole Mount. I feel for me. In very crude terms, Grealish, Mount, and Foden are very similar players. They don't really run in behind. They want the ball in front of the defense. They want to work in the little spaces, the half spaces, as a commentator probably would say.
On the half turn.
They're all pretty much trying to play in the same area, and they're all doing the same thing, and that's quite easy to defend against. If you're a defender, you want everything ahead of you because you can see it. That's why players who run in behind are so dangerous, because obviously they ask you different questions. I feel whilst Foden and Mount and Grealish ask very difficult questions, they're all asking the same difficult question for defenders. So I think that's an issue. And also on the 2 defensive midfielders point, a lot of people are saying, why are playing 2 defenders against San Marino or whatever, or against Hungary or whatever club it is, team it is, nation, country. I feel like when we play against the bigger sides, the bigger nations, and we play, at least we've had experience of playing with 2 central defensive midfielders. If we play we've won against the smaller nations, win those games, and then, for example, we play against a bigger nation. It's difficult because you're like, why haven't you? If we play the one-off game against, say, Brazil or Germany or whatever, and we play 2 defensive midfielders and we lose that game, people are saying, why have you changed the system? We were great with 1. Why are we playing with 2 just because it's Germany? It's just like, well, it makes sense to play 2 because it's more of you're more solid defensively, and international football is pretty much not about conceding goals. So it's sort of a lose-lose, I think, for Southgate, because if he wants to try out 2 defensive midfielders, which works for England, he's always going to get shouted at because you have to play that system to get used to it, right? And when you have to play it against the smaller teams, no matter what happens, because that's how you learn the system. I think that's what you're touching on, Barnes. It's a way of playing.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's an interesting one because, as you say, in international football, defensive teams tend to do better, and I can see why fans complain that England were. You look at the final that we lost to Italy, and it was very frustrating. We didn't really go for Italy, and it looked like they were potentially there for the taking. So I do sort of understand it, but when people say 2 DMs, Calvin Phillips isn't really in that formation. He's meant to be a sort of playmate. He's passing from deep positions. It's just how you play, really. It doesn't really matter how many. You could play 3 DMs, you could play 4 DMs, but if the rest of your players are all attacking in the box, then you're going to be playing attacking football. So I don't think it matters too much. My other point was just on Harry Kane. I'd have really liked to see Tammy Abraham given the full 90 against Hungary.
Yeah.
So I just think Kane's been off it at the start of this season, and Abraham has looked really good playing up there for Roma. And I'd have liked to see him given that opportunity to go all the way through 90 minutes. So I don't think Kane it's just piling more pressure on himself playing in
absolutely
this game that doesn't really matter. Like I said, we're pretty much qualified anyway. I'd like to see Abraham, and similar situation with Tomori as well. I didn't understand Mings or Cody playing. I'd like to see Tomori for 90 minutes.
It brings up the whole debate of Southgate's always sort of, his thing has always been, I'm going to choose players that are in form, and I'm not going to pick the names from the big clubs. And if he is abiding by that and complying against his own sort of thoughts, then Kane should be nowhere near starting, and Abraham's absolutely tearing it up in Serie A. And has Kane even scored this season? I don't think he has.
He has. He scored a few.
Has he?
Yeah, he's got probably in the Europa Conference League.
Probably in the Conference League, but that's no. I don't think that's any sort of justification for starting it for England. I just feel with Kane, other people should start. There's a lot more England strikers who are in form, and if Southgate stuck to his guns and actually said, "Look, I'm going to play the players that are in form," then he should. But Ed, what are you going to come in there?
I was just going to say, I arguably think he probably shouldn't have even been in the squad.
Yeah.
He's doing absolutely nothing for Tottenham.
Niche.
And like you said, there are so many other English strikers that are in form. One thing I was going to say as well, I think it was probably harsh to bring off Jack Grealish fairly early on. I think he was maybe made a little bit of a scapegoat. Just it's an interesting one, isn't it? There's lots to unpick. Everybody's got an opinion on the England squad. Like we've said, it's not an easy job, but there are things that you would like to see. So, yeah, we've pretty much qualified. Hopefully, this means that he can give some other players a bit more of a go.
Oh, there you go. But we're going to Qatar, right? That's the main thing.
What an away day!
What an away day for everyone. Anything else on England or the international break, lads, or should we just call it there? We've been going for about 54 minutes now or so.
I think let's call it there.
Let's call it there.
Somber note, let's call it
on that somber note. Well, thank you very much for everyone that has been watching. We do really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. We are on, as you can see at the bottom, subscriber goal, 38 out of 100. So we'd love to hit 100. So please do subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when we go live. It's normally about this time. Maybe once or twice a week, depending on if we're busy or not. If Ash isn't going out for meals for his birthday, which I don't think he's going to be doing for another year,
Shocking.
I guess. Shocking. But anyway, it's goodbye from Ed and it's goodbye from Barnes. So we'll just say wave and goodbye and see you guys soon.